Hi, I'm Bernie Flynn. At New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Company, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child, Wells Fargo, the Adler Aphasia Center, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. The law firm of GIBBONS PC. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work. And by Bloomfield College, offering small classes and big opportunities since 1868.
This is One-on-One.
That's good acting, man.
I get that a lot. I go to Atlantic City all the time, like, are you the guy? I go, no, I'm not.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
They thought that I wouldn't survive it, but I knew I would.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. I'm about to introduce you to a fascinating physician and a business person as well. He is Dr. Michael Harris, Chief of Surgery and Surgical Services at Englewood Hospital Medical Center, and also author of Excellence with an Edge, Practicing Medicine in a Competitive Environment. You said to call you Dr. Mickey Harris. Mickey, they call you Mickey?
Mickey.
All right,
my
Mickey.
mother calls me Dr. Harris.
All right, doctor. Let me ask you this. Why have you said the business of being a doctor is complicated?
Well, it starts, I guess, with the fact that that no physician ever has been taught that the practice of medicine is inherently a business.
Why not, by the way?
Well, we all go into medical school thinking we're going to, help people. That's, and we do, and we want to. Nowadays, everybody's goal is to open a clinic in sub-Saharan Africa. They're going to go to Bill Gates and they're going to say, I want to open a clinic. What they don't
need a grant.
Well, what they don't understand is that Bill and Melinda are going to say to them, well, listen, what's the model? How are you going to keep your lights on? How are you going to pay for the materials? And that's just never taught. We're taught how to practice medicine. We're taught how to deal with patients sometimes. And but we're never taught that actually we have to we have to make a living. It always was assumed. As time goes on now, with the practice changing, not only with the Affordable Care Act, but even well prior to that and things that are well beyond that, you as a physician need to understand the environment in which you're providing care.
Can you truly be an effective physician who spends time, quality time, with patients, asks good questions, is a good listener, tries to really diagnose in the way that a physician needs to diagnose, and still see enough patients to be efficient and effective and pay the bills and keep the operation going and make money?
It's a great question, and I would submit that the answer is you can't not do that. You won't survive if you're unable to do that, and part of surviving and thriving in this world is the ability to manage your time and your business in a way that that allows you to do just that.
And the research for the book, the biggest mistakes that most physicians make in trying to be competitive in this environment are?
Also a great question. I think...
That's all I have is questions. I don't have answers, doctor.
I'm not sure I have all the answers either, but there are a lot of different mistakes. I think people sort of focus on one area only to the exclusively rather, to the detriment of the other. I think there are many, most physicians focus on the practice and they focus on the time they spend with the patients and ignore the business. There are some, albeit fewer, who are purely business guys. And they've come in and they recognize that it's a business, but they focus too much on the business, and what gets falls out is in between. And I think that there are very few that have the balance of both that is required.
kind of reaction have you gotten from your colleagues to the book, your research, and the things you say?
It's been very positive. I think people recognize now that these are difficult times. They recognize that as they progress in practice, they are seeing things. They're exposed to an environment that they weren't prepared for, and the fact that there are people like us who are trying to help them cope with that environment and really learn to thrive in it has been very well received.
I'm curious about this. People in medical school right now, to what degree are medical schools adapting to what it is you are saying and literally teaching future physicians how to be better businessmen, better businesswomen, so that they are not struggling as much to find this equilibrium, this balance?
It's tough sledding. I think there are a few.
And by the way, who would do that in medical school? Would they need to be business people?
Well, they
or at least
need to be
successful physicians who
yes.
have been able to pull this off.
Correct, or some combination of both. And there are more physician executives as time goes on. There really has been a push in the industry for physicians to become more business savvy. You'll see a lot of hospital CEOs and presidents now or MDs. Very few medical schools have a formal business program. The program that I started when I was back at Mount Sinai was only the 3rd in the country, and it was an elective. Now, it was an elective that virtually every student who had elective time took, and now we're starting to see, only now we're starting to see this as part of the mandatory curriculum in very few schools.
In the time we have, I want to give you a chance to talk about your practice. Describe it.
I personally am a GI surgeon, gastrointestinal surgeon. I specialize in taking care of patients with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, which are grouped as what's called inflammatory bowel disease. I also take care of people with colorectal cancer. That's really the scope of my practice, almost exclusively those. I do large reconstructive gastrointestinal surgery, and have been doing it for 25 years back at Mount Sinai, and was recruited a little over a year and a half ago now to go to Englewood Hospital as its chief.
Word is you often spend, initially, as much as 90 minutes with a patient in an initial consultation. I don't get it. I mean, what does that have to do with successful business?
Well, I'm fortunate in that respect, in that the nature of the surgery that I do allows for that. The days are long, and you know, doing my other jobs in between and patients and after. But my feeling has been that time up front with patients actually saves a tremendous amount of time later. I lay out with patients basically all of the expectations, answer all of their questions, and what almost never happens is me getting a phone call saying, you know, doc, you know, can you explain this to me? I don't understand what's going on, or, you know, you didn't tell me this was going to happen, because we really spend that time up front. Yeah,
real
absolutely.
quick, a minute we have left. You've often said in your practice it's like selling Porsches, not Yugos. What does that mean?
Well, that's again the nature of my particular practice. That doesn't necessarily lend itself to all practice, but you know, depending on the nature of the work that you do, you have to you know, you have to sort of find your niche. You have to find a way to take care of the patients in a way that that is justified by the time, the effort, and the expense.
Dr. Michael Harris, you have a lot of hats that you wear, and we appreciate you coming in, but your book is clearly going to create a buzz and make a difference. It's called Excellence with an Edge, Practicing Medicine in a, I would argue, a very competitive environment, getting more competitive all the time. Doctor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Because we're friends, we'll call you Mickey from now on.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
appreciate it.
Thanks
Stay
for
right
having me.
there. One-on-one will continue right after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
Mike Schweder is president of AT&T Mid-Atlantic Region. Good to see you, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you come in. Listen, there's so many pieces to this story. We're doing this program in late January of 2013. This story will continue, but put things in context. Right after Hurricane Sandy, tremendous impact on your team, your operation. Bedminster is where your global
Network Operations Center is located.
The big impact there was?
Well, we didn't have as much concern there in the building. What we did is we lost lots of power at locations all across New Jersey and obviously into eastern Pennsylvania as well. So over the course of the day or two after that, we were out and we provided over 3,000 generators across the area to bring restoration to that. Over the years, we've done a lot of drills. We do 4 a year. We've done them in New Jersey. We have one coming up in the next few months. We'll be in Hartford, Connecticut to do for the Northeast. And so over the last decade, we've learned a lot of lessons on how to do this. And with this one, we knew it was coming, and we had time to bring in from all over the country the kinds of equipment that we needed to make sure that we could restore the network when it was down and to keep it functioning. So we had those locations there. We also learned that gasoline is pretty important and that you're not going to find that many places and suppliers. We brought those in. We set up our own filling locations in New Jersey so that when we go out to first of all for employees to go out and do it, but also to the generators to bring fuel. So it's those kinds of things that we were able to get things back up and running to about 90% within the first 3 days, and then shortly after that to 100%.
So interesting. We'll talk about texting a little bit later on because you have this incredible campaign to educate people about the dangers of texting and driving, but this is interesting. We interviewed First Lady in New Jersey, Mary Pat Christie, about the Hurricane Relief Fund that she started up with the governor. And then after that, I told you we had a sit down 1 hour with the governor, Governor Christie at NJPAC, where both of them made mention of the role of your company. You guys stepped up big time to raise money for the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund. Describe that very quickly, because they were raising money very quickly outside of the federal government, outside of the government, from corporations, foundations. Talk about that.
Monday after the storm hit, the First Lady called me, and we were able to the next morning make a commitment where we contributed $1 million to that fund. We had already contributed $250,000 to other operations in South Jersey, food banks that we had participated with in the past. And what it really came down to was when we looked at the sheer magnitude of what had happened here, we started doing a lot of different things in addition to just running our network.
Did you do food banks as well?
Well, we ended up giving financial resources to them in South Jersey. When you think about this, when people didn't have electricity, no way to charge their cell phone.
Right.
So we set up those operations all over the state. We went into an agreement with T-Mobile where we would roam on each other's network without any charge or compensation back and forth between those. So we did all those kinds of things. And then strangely enough is what we hadn't really prepared for in any way is that Election Day was a week after that. Well, there were a lot of polling places in New Jersey that were not going to have power, and therefore we're not going to have any way to charge cell phones to be in touch back to Trenton in case there were any concerns. So Thursday before Election Day, they gave us a list, probably about 24 of those, and we put people out in the field to set up charging stations. And as things got better, that number continued to decrease. So by the time we got to Election Day, it was probably only about a handful that needed it. But we were prepared to do whatever needed to be done.
You know, it's interesting, Mike. We've spoken to a lot of corporate executives around the region for the last several months, and we'll continue to do that because the Sandy impact will continue for months and years to come. Real quick, why did you do that? Why the company?
Well, I think obviously we're a significant corporate citizen in New Jersey, and I think that the suffering was not just our customers. You know, we have almost 10,000 employees here in the state of New Jersey.
They were impacted.
They were impacted by this as well. We had lots of people who didn't have power in their homes for 2 or 3 weeks. We had people who were willing, some employees who were willing to invite others to come at least shower in their home who didn't have the opportunity to do that as well. So when we just learned of the magnitude of this, we just figured this was above and beyond what we simply needed to do to keep our customers happy, but to do what we could with the enormous impact.
Shifting gears, this campaign, It Can Wait. Boy, texting and driving. Can we take a look at a quick public service announcement spot? You've seen them out there, folks. They are powerful. We'll come back to Mike and talk about it. It's good stuff. Let's take a look.
patients involved.
Go ahead, shoot.
Mike, why a technology company doing this?
Well, we started the program in 2009. There wasn't a whole lot of interest, quite frankly, in that. In 2012, our chairman, Mr. Stevenson, decided, after we looked at research, that 1 in 3 drivers tells that texting impacts the way they drive. And so it's just more a safety consideration than it was anything else. We've seen this happen far too often in our personal lives. So it's a commitment we made as a company to start this, and we've done it all across the country. In the last 6 months, we've had almost 1.5 million people take the pledge, so they sign up. The movies that we've put together, The Last Text, I've been in high schools where we've presented that. You have an auditorium filled with 1,800 high school students. There isn't a sound in the place as they watch that or afterwards. Just how, when they look at the potential that's there, that they just, to waste lives, and the interviews we have with people in that movie makes a difference. And so it's a real commitment we made, and we're going to redouble what we're doing in 2013. And do that with as many schools as we can across the country.
We have the It Can Wait spot, the website. Go on and find out more. I'll give you 30 seconds on this. The Aspire campaign, the AT&T Aspire campaign, what is it?
It's a program where we looked at the terrible results we have in high school retention and people being ready for work or for college. We've invested $350 million in that across the country. We've worked with schools here in Camden, in Perth Amboy. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel, but we looked for programs that people were running that really made sense, worked to the goals that we have, and quite, from a vested interest, we have an interest in what the next workforce is going to look like.
AT&T volunteers are involved.
That's actually right. We've done that. We started a mentoring program within the last 3 or 4 months. We've had job shadowing as well, and we think we're making a difference in that.
That is exactly why we had you here, because we're trying to make a difference, and that's what you're doing, and we applaud you for your efforts. Please come back again. I know you had a 2.5-hour drive from where you are from Pennsylvania, and we thank you for being good corporate citizens.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, Steve.
Michael Schweder, who is president of AT&T, the Mid-Atlantic Region, we thank you for joining us. Stay with us. One-on-one will continue right after this. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
There she is, Carlene Anderson, 3rd grade teacher, PS, number 12 in beautiful Paterson, New Jersey. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve.
We're about to see a piece of video from our partners at the NJEA, Classroom Close-Up, a terrific series you can see on public television in New Jersey, NJTV. Listen, before we see this, digital citizenship, what is it?
Basically, it's just bringing the world into our classroom and using technology to do that, to help our students prepare to be 21st century citizens, and using technology in a digital age in a very responsible way.
And we're about to see this video that brings that to life. We'll come back and talk to Carlene, and she'll tell us her story and why she's one of the many terrific educators that we feature in this terrific series. Take a look at the video, and we'll talk right after this.
Good morning. Can you hear us, Stefan?
Yes, we do, and we can see you now.
Okay, let me just check the volume on my computer, please.
Carlene Anderson, a 3rd grade teacher here at School 12 in Paterson, is taking her students on a virtual field trip around the world in less than 7 hours.
In English, Mr. Nielsen, we spell cat. Is there some... C-A-T. So there's
Carlene and her students are sharing a vocabulary lesson with a classroom in Denmark. This is all part of the Digital Citizenship Project.
Digital citizenship basically means bringing the world into the classroom, and we use technology to do that as a mode of sending and receiving messages about our culture, our customs, traditions, our beliefs, etc.
Carlene's students and their friends from Denmark took turns performing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Mr. Nielsen played guitar for both classes.
What I've noticed with my students after the Skype sessions, I've noticed that the cultural divide narrows.
The next stop on our tour was a school in Maine where students shared a lesson about caring.
Responsibility means being accountable for what you say and do.
School number 12 invited Norman, the therapy dog, for this segment.
What Norman really does as a therapy dog is he's a volunteer, and he works in his community with disabled people. He works with children in school, like you guys, so you can get a good appreciation of a dog.
With Denmark, you saw how language is an essential part of our experience. With Maine, communities of caring. We showed the students the relevance of even animals and how they help people.
I know in Jamaica, where I was born, we eat a lot of callaloo. And even in New Jersey, where I now live, we eat a lot of callaloo. So we kind of take our culture with us, boys and girls, when we move, don't we?
Yes.
With the students in Guyana, we continued our discussion about diversity. We were discussing people groups and how the foods that they bring to the New World or brought to the New World influence our culture to the point where it's hard for us to separate where the East Indian culture ends and where our love for curry chicken begins. It was a way for us to see the melding of our cultures, things that are similar.
The thing that I like about Skyping is we meet like the world and like we learn things about other states or countries.
I want to preserve my culture so somebody can say, oh, tell me more about where you're from.
I mean, that is good stuff.
Well, thank you, Steve.
How much do you love doing that?
I love it quite a bit. I learn from my students a lot, and as we interface with students around the world through our global collaboration projects, we learn an immense amount from students across
Now, just in that video
America.
we saw from our partners at the NJEA Classroom Close-Up Series, they were communicating with students in Denmark.
Yes.
And where else?
Guyana, South America, and Maine, as well as Hawaii.
I mean, and the other teachers, the teachers on the other end, how do you make that connection?
Interesting question, Steve. Initially, my inception into this whole Skyping movement and using Skype as a teaching and learning tool came by way of an email from a colleague of mine from Maine, Sherry McInnes, with the Chatting Across the USA project.
Chatting Across the USA.
Yes, and so Chatting Across the USA essentially is a project where teachers across America were invited to be state ambassadors. We would research and present state facts. And so my students and I, we responded to that email and essentially became New Jersey's representation of those facts. And as we began to share more and more about our Patersonian history, we realized, New Jersey is a very diverse state, and Paterson being the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution.
That's right.
That we had so much to share where culture is concerned. And all of that happened around the same time where a reduction in force happened in education.
Right.
And so not only were we in Paterson affected, but teachers across America.
So technology becomes a huge factor then.
Yes, it becomes a unifying force because Paterson, school number 12, we are a professional development school with William Paterson University. And so our professor in residence would bring in a lot of tutors to assist in
translation. You're working with school number 12 in Paterson.
Yes.
Professional development, meaning these are young people. You're trying to get them ready for the workforce, okay? And so you're working with professionals, academics at William Paterson who partner with you to do what?
Partnered with us to bring tutors into the classroom to help with literacy, to help with math, and to hit at all the core content, standards and the Common Core. And so as those tutors were being brought in by my professor in residence, who is the university's representative assigned to my school, I basically, in light of the reduction in force, asked her, can you please send the music majors, the art majors, we lost music teacher, art teacher, lots of teachers during that.
Needed help.
We needed help. And so as I discovered that more of these teachers across America were likewise impacted, I used Skype then to enhance their learning experiences, sharing the mini concerts of tutors who were music majors who were coming in, sharing art lessons with children across America.
You changed it up big time.
Changed it up big time.
I have to ask you in the limited time we have, because I know the story is more complex than this, Carlene. What impact do you think it's had on the students?
I think it's had a tremendous impact in that it's broadened their worldview, and it's allowed them to see that they have a place in the world. It's increased their civic awareness, and also cultural pride, I think, has increased.
Cultural pride?
Yes.
Translation?
Well, even with Paterson being the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution, many of our students at School Number 12 and across Paterson are from immigrant families, and immigration was what really drove the American Industrial Revolution. And so as students are able to see the value of not just what Denmark has to say to us or what Guyana has to say to us.
What about their story?
They see that their story is an important story to tell as well. And so that's when I say civic pride, it boosts their self-esteem, and it helps them to realize that there's something good about Paterson. Given all else that's not so good, there's something worth
And there's
sharing.
something good about teachers in Paterson,
Well,
teachers like you.
Thank you.
And that's why we're glad we picked you. Carlene Anderson, third grade teacher, public school number 12 in Paterson, New Jersey. We want to thank you for joining us. You're a credit to your profession.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for watching. Now let's continue the conversation about this and other important topics and issues on Facebook. Visit my page at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child, Wells Fargo, the Adler Aphasia Center, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. The law firm of GIBBONS PC. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work. And by Bloomfield College, offering small classes and big opportunities since 1868. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey, and by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.